Yeah, I've just had a very interesting weekend actually, which was maybe you saw it, which I posted in the Warriors. I just spent the last 4 days working with one of the world's best mindset and date coaches here.
Who was that?
There's a guy from the UK called James Tusk, and he's very famous as a date coach in the UK. And he was here doing their World Series filming, and I was doing the filming and assisting with the coaching here for the past 4 days. Incredible. Wow.
James Tusk.
Yeah.
What's his speciality then? What sort of coaching does he do?
Basically, he does like street approach. So how to find your ideal partner, just walking in the street, basically.
How to find your ideal partner walking in the streets. Hi, Paul.
Yeah. So basically, you walk in the street, and then if you see someone that you find that who's attractive, you approach them in a very nice way, and you say, "Hi, I noticed you walking. You're very, very beautiful. And how are you?" Getting a bit of small talk, getting a number, and then taking them out for coffee.
Wow.
Quite powerful stuff.
So he's a relationship coach, is he? Is that what he does? He works with relationships.
Yeah, incredible. And the past 4 days was just like, whoa. So yeah, very, very good.
It seems very trivial, doesn't it? It seems very obvious. You see someone you like, you're attracted to, and then you go and speak to that person and ask them, or say that you find them attractive, and would you like to go for a coffee, something like that. It seems pretty normal.
Well, it was like before the days of date apps and before the days of mobile phones in the 60s. That was what you do, right? You would be, maybe you go to a dinner party or a ball, and you would speak to someone in a one-on-one manner. Before the age of internet, before everything else, that's how people would meet.
I don't know. I personally haven't used a dating app. I'm still married, so it doesn't mean anything. I could still use a dating app. Why not? It just made me just think about that. But I know younger people are using it more and more. I mean, my daughter is 23, and her best friend, who's 23, very attractive girl, found her partner online, 23. And I was a bit surprised because, but then maybe that's just my mindset or whatever. But she just didn't want to go looking for this. So she went on this this app, put down all her characteristics, what she was looking for, what she could offer, and she found her partner.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it was yeah, definitely. But we've got to be open. We've got to be open because the world is changing so fast that we're still talking about Tinder. I think they've moved on from that into something else. So it's completely gone.
Yeah, there's multiple now. I remember back in the day there was one called Match.com where you would put in everything you were looking for, and then the company would find somebody for you based on your characteristics that you put what you were looking for, and people would pay.
Oh yeah. Just to get all the dirty work out of the way, pay someone to do your dirty work.
Yeah.
Which is basically all the courtship and the courting, and which is the most the thing that actually gets those butterflies inside of you. And because when you're courting, that's what it's all about. It's being in the unknown, in that space where you don't know what's happening.
Funny
okay. Anyway, listen, Paul, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while. You okay? Yeah.
Hi, Paul. Pleasure to meet you.
You too, Matt. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks, Gary. How are you?
Yeah, life's treating you well?
Yes. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, maybe.
No, it hasn't been too bad lately.
Okay.
And that resilience work is paying off.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Hi, Gabby. Haven't seen you for a long time.
No, I know. Where have you been hiding?
Under a rock.
The rocks, under the rocks.
Under a rock. Yeah. Okay, so listen, let's start. I'm recording this session anyway, so let's start. I wanted to first just show you if I can share my screen, 1 second. Why won't it? It won't let me share my screen because I'm recording. I don't know why. But anyway, the idea was just to tell you what is this all about. This BEwell hub spaces community is a moment to get an expert in a business or a mental well-being health sector onto the webinar to talk about their expertise. The audience, whoever comes onto the webinar, it's a free webinar, so anyone can come. There's no obligation. What they will get is they will get an expert talking about that field. They'll have the opportunity to ask questions, but it's a free-flowing conversation. After about 25-30 minutes, if there's enough of us, we'll go into breakout rooms, and either the speaker prepares some questions, or I can prepare the questions in advance if I know that the speaker is not going to bring questions to the webinar, and then we go a little bit deeper. I also prefer that sort of approach because then people actually get a chance to talk about it rather than just listen, because it's not just a passive webinar here or getting together. It's like, okay, the speaker is an expert, fine, let's listen to the speaker, but then everyone gets into this space where they actually ask each other, so what is project management? What have you understood? Are you using it? And would it be helpful for you? And what skills do you need? And that kind of stuff. So those questions would actually mean those people going a bit deeper into the topic. Okay, so that's what it's all about. This is just a continuation of my BEwell program that I offer to new entrepreneurs, like startups, to people who are already running a business, but maybe they've just lost a little bit of direction, they've lost their enthusiasm. And the last one is to help people who want to come out of a business and they don't know how to come out of the business. They don't want to sell the business, but they need to organize themselves to get out of the business, and they need to have a little bit of a consultant or a coach or a mentor. And that's what I offer. It's called the BEwell program, 3 steps. One is called the BEwell Launchpad, which is for new entrepreneurs. The BEwell Pit Stop, where in the middle you understand what's happening and what do I need and so on. And the last one is BEwell. I gave the name Take Stock, to understand what you've achieved in all these years and how do you want to continue. So that's the BEwell program, which is out there, let's say. But this is just a get together for experts and ourselves to get more light into these topics. Okay, so we have Matt Ambrose, project management expert, let's say. And so perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what is project management, Matt.
So have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're working within a company and you have someone maybe above you or sitting there to organize you, and you're not really quite sure how they're approaching you or how you can approach them? So, like, for instance, for me, I work with 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs who want to optimize their business, basically. So they're doing okay, but they want to scale more. So basically they want to manage their projects to get more money or to sell more items. So one of the key things that I focus on is workflow creation. So finding the actual steps to actually effectively manage those tasks in your team. So if you're there with a group of people and you want to get a project done, what is the project and who is doing it? Do you have the right people on your team to do what you're looking to do, like to what you're looking to achieve? So it's kind of just like analyzing everything down and breaking it down and saying, right, okay, we need to do like, what are the priorities of what we need? And also, if there's something within the project and we don't have the appropriate people to do a certain task, like identifying those tasks that we need, and maybe we need to hire more people for a more specific specialist role. Also, what kind of new systems that we might need. Like, for instance, a lot of people think that project management is just like a notepad, a pen. There are several different CRM platforms like Asana, ClickUp, and basically these programs are designed to finite the tasks that you need to do and then literally check them off as you go. So you're actually managing your day, so you're not forgetting it. Instead of having like a notepad and writing down all your tasks and having it on paper, there are actually platforms you can use that you can track where you're going, and you can manage the workflow and say, right, okay, this person's got certain amounts of gaps and times in the day. What can we do to fill those gaps to make it more efficient to make money? Also, another big thing that we use within project management is, has anyone used Loom before?
No.
So Loom is basically, it's a video recording that you can record the screen on your computer. So if someone doesn't know how to do something, you create an SOP, so a standard operation procedure. So you'll open like a Google Doc sheet, you'll open the website or the platform that you're trying to use, and you'll have a little circle camera in the corner, and you will physically talk. So I will talk about the task that I'm doing. I can write it down at the same time on a Google Doc and visually show people, and then share it to them and record it, saying, and instead of you actually having to repeat, telling people how to do a specific task, you just share the recording. It's great.
I had a situation where I was working with quite a few project managers who were working with an IT company. I was given a bunch of them to actually do coaching with. And one of the things was that not all the project managers, because there were quite a few managers, or they were on the team, they were all working remote as well. So they weren't seeing each other every day, and they were not filling in the form that they had to do as often as they needed to. So there was always information that was missing. How has that ever come across? Have you ever come across that?
Yeah, I was working with a company, a cleaning company actually in Canada, like early last year, and basically they had 20 locations, 30 technicians, and it was owned by 2 people. And basically they brought me in to help the operations. And I was like, well, they don't answer emails. They don't, like, they'll answer phone calls, but like these companies have set procedures of what needs to be done within the buildings for their cleaning. And the people just weren't reading the emails, and obviously the job wasn't getting done. So when the inspections were happening every week to make sure that these buildings, these are high-end buildings, like big-end companies that employ contractors to come in, and no one was actually checking things off. And I was like, well, you need to check things off. We've got these specific apps there. So all it takes is 5 seconds to go tick, 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 so everybody knows what they're doing. But a lot of people, it depends on what the manager, a lot of managers feel that they're too high or they're too good for that. I'm the manager, so it's my duty, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, no, mate, you're not. Your job is to manage. Your job is to make sure that the tasks get done. So if you don't know where you're going and they don't know where you're going, how is the company going to move forward? And it's just being gentle and saying, right, guys, come on, we all need to be on the same page here. We don't want to be doubling or tripling the same work. We want to keep everything simple so that everything is like kind of, some people, when it comes to like budgeting and financing the projects you've got, whether it's real estate or anything like that, knowing where you are with the budget is so important also, because some people believe that completing a project before the due date is good. It's actually not, to be honest, because if you've got X amount of money, you really need to fulfill that money for that project. It's been done for a reason. So sometimes if someone does something before the budget is up, you may have missed some things. So most projects that go over budget are actually better because people have found other things. So
it's not like you've been very efficient and you've been very cost efficient, so you've not spent as much as the budget. That's a negative.
It can be sometimes, yeah, because some people try to cut the corner. If you've gone to a specialist who knows exactly what is needed for a specific, say for an apartment, you can like find cheaper products, but if you come in like quite a lot under budget, people are going to ask questions. As in, okay, so what's missing? Like, but it also depends on what grade you're looking for, what class. Like if someone's looking for like the high-end, high spec, and the whole project has been built on 5-star luxury, and then they decide that they don't really want like 5-star luxury, okay, that's fine. But I mean, if somebody has said, well, this is what the normal cost is, how did you get it so cheap? Unless it's properly detailed, as in, okay, we decided to use this equipment because it was a little bit cheaper. But yeah, it's like a lot of governments have budgets and they need to spend it for tax reasons, and if they don't, they get asked why.
So if you have a project that's like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, I mean, how long do these, give us an example of a project that you followed that was a long-term project.
Okay, so at the moment, I'm working with a similar thing to what you do called Exitpreneur. So it's companies that have they've built their Amazon business. So the business is already built, they have everything fulfilled, but they've got to get everything like done so they can actually buy and sell for companies a year. Now, there's a turnover point that the average company takes between 60 to 90 days to go through due diligence. Now, a lot of these companies will offer like a 30-day pit stop, but it's very difficult to get a 30-day pit stop done within finance, because as you know, going through the books and getting everything done with QuickBooks and having everything so it's detailed so that when the buyer comes in, if it's not, if the calculations don't work, there's no room for error. So if you've got 4 projects that need to be done and you've got a 90-day window for each one, any slight miscalculation that's not been managed from start to finish can cause a right ripple, and could cause the failure of the project or the loss of the sale.
So when you talk about project management, you talk about also managing risks, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So what kind of risks are there? I mean, what kind of, we talk about? There's all
So
sorts
if you
of...
have risks where if you're in like say a manufacturing company and you've got a lot of money on the table and you've invested money in stock and you've invested money into specialist equipment to build that and create that stock, you can't like change something like halfway through if the budget has already been set. So you could lose all that money. So say if you're building like you're making a specific bottle, like a plastic bottle to hold a drink, and then all of a sudden someone decides, oh, we can't get the material at the moment to complete the rest of the fulfillment. You can't go and change the equipment for a different size bottle, because it will completely throw the whole project out. And you could lose millions because you've got the specific equipment there to make that bottle, you know? So if you get there and you run out of material and you can't get that in, to redo everything and rechange the design of the equipment, because like within manufacturing, most people, they have a set, they buy white label equipment that actually builds that certain unit for multiples. If you're making like 1 million bottles, you'll have specific equipment to make those 1 million bottles the same size with the same print. And if you get a spanner in the works, you could lose all that money.
So where does your liability come into this then as a project manager? Do you have a private insurance for what is your consultancy or what your contribution to the project?
Yeah, we have like a guarantee. So if you're going to do something and you need to qualify it, like for me, what I'll do is if I'm doing a project and I'll say, if I can't get you to where you need to go, like the distance, say if you've got between 1 and 3 months to complete something. Now, within the first month or 6-week window, if you're not producing what you can, then a lot of people can offer like a money back guarantee or a discount on the rate if you're not getting it done. It can be like similar to like a coaching. So for me, I'll say, right, I'm going to do an investigation. Now, if I can't do this to your standards, I'm not going to charge you the full price. I'm not going to, like, if I've promised an outcome and I can't come up with that outcome, I'm not going to charge you for the full price of what that project was.
So what would happen? What would happen in that case of the bottle with the 1 million bottles being produced, and for whatever reason you've run out of material, or what could happen? A machine could break down, or why would that? Why would the production stop? For what reason?
It would basically, it could depend, like if basically you sourced the wrong product from the wrong company and you didn't do your proper due diligence on the company you were buying the equipment from. It's like there was an incident where there was a very famous guy where I come from, Jersey Channel Islands, and he bought an oil mine to get these rich, like to get the oil in the opal, like the raw materials. And he didn't have the appropriate permits, but he was only looking for the money. So in the end, he was advertising this scaling thing where he could dig out all this opal and the permits weren't sufficient. So in the end, unfortunately, he didn't have an insurance that backed up. So the whole thing folded. Where if you're doing like a construction project, you need to have an insurance saying, listen, if we can't fulfill this, then we have a backup plan for someone who can. Because you can't promise to deliver a huge project and then not be insured like financially for the company. If someone's invested money into you in time and you can't reset it, you have to have a plan B. Same with like car insurance. If you're driving along a car and you have a car accident and you damage someone else's car, you've got to have some kind of backup there for protection.
So have you ever been in a project where you've run out of funds? I mean, I see in Italy, I don't know about in other countries where, so you've been suddenly you look across and you see one of those, one of those bridges, the bridge is half completed. And I think it looks really beautiful and it looks quite new as well, perfect, but it's not complete. It's just left there. And then they've built another road to take you away from that road there, from that bridge. So the question is there, what happens there? I mean, are those, whose fault is that? Is that the project management? Is it the finances? People who are financing the project, or?
It depends. It could be multiple reasons, because mainly like with a lot of projects, there's the main key is the sponsor, was the guy with the money. So a sponsor will approach a project manager saying, hi, this is our budget and this is what we're going to do. But there have been multiple times where the sponsor has run out of money. The sponsor has this vision of what they want to create. So they've bought maybe this plot of land and they've planned out these beautiful apartments. They've got to a problem, but the sponsor has made a key mistake in maybe the material they're using, the company couldn't fulfill it, maybe. And then you're like, okay, well, what do? We need to find another company, but it might take another company to build another product that can actually fit the building. It has happened before. And basically, so what they've got to do is they've got to put a pause on it, and then they've got to go and find another company, hand in all the specifications again, go through all the electrics, through all the plumbing, and then see how they can actually if they can get another sponsor to carry on and help. It can be quite daunting. I know they had this issue during COVID in the UK where all the constructions had to be put on hold because the money wasn't being stimulated throughout the country. So they waited until they could find a new company that could take over it and actually fulfill. But it can be quite tricky, scary things.
I'm quite sort of surprised and also in awe sometimes when I see these big, construction work in the UK. When I go back to London, for example, I see the underground. They've just built a new underground system called, I can't remember what it's called. I think can't remember the name. Anyway, the Elizabeth tube station or underground line. And I just think, wow, there's so much there and so many people working, and how do you coordinate all of that? How does that all work? I mean, how do you prioritize stuff?
basically they'll prioritize it for what is the most important. But a lot of things that what the governments do is the governments have to spend a certain amount of money each year. So a lot of these government companies, they will just spend money because they need to spend money. So they'll create and just manufacture projects out of thin air because they've got to spend that money. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, with governments, they just hire, like a friend of mine, he's a procurement officer, and he gets brought in to actually measure the cost of things that are needed. But a lot of companies, they need to spend X amount of money. And if they don't spend X amount of money, the next year their budget is going to be lower. So then they've got to hire multiple project managers to come in and actually organize it. It can be quite tricky. So it's basically, right, okay, you guys have all got to work together and get this done. So basically, one project manager might be a specialist in finance, one might be construction, one might be, normal real estate or housing. And they've got to get everything together. But the problem that you have is a lot of project managers, they don't always like to work together. So it's basically making people that everybody's on the same level, and even say, all right, guys, come on, we're all going to get what we need out of this, and we've all got to kind of work together. So let's create a workflow. Let's use different apps that we can to actually get everything in order, and let's work out who's doing what, where, and how, and then communicate and basically just get it so that we're managing, so that the KPIs are actually on track, and that we're actually getting this done, and that there's no kind of like hierarchy within the system.
So I was just thinking about these, again, pondering on these projects, these big projects, whatever. Is there some sort of a way that you work backwards? Like, start with the end.
Yes, well, you take the goal and you can work back with the hurdles. Isn't it? Okay, this is what our mission is to do. Now, what are the steps that we need to get there, but from the end? So reverse. It's the same with if you're selling a company, your end goal is here. But if your end goal is here, you need to know the maths that are going to get you there before you get there. So if you want to sell X amount of things, how much money do I need in value to get to that end goal? How many clients do I need, and how many products I need to reach where I need to get to? So if you want to make like $1 million a year, how many clients do you need? How many products do you need to sell within that year to reach that $1 million goal? So you're starting with the goal first, and then you're breaking it down into how many clients do you need? How many products do you need to sell, obviously, to get there, like with cars. So how many do we need to sell to reach that goal? And how many per day, how many per month, or how many days per week per month? And actually having that, but you need the end amount before that.
So you need how much time, Matt, is spent on the foundations, let's say, of the project?
Normally it's about 95% action, 95% preparation, 5% action at the end of the day. Because like the action, like it's the preparation, and then you just get the people to do it. And then it's just keeping on top of them.
Yeah. You guys got any questions? Yeah, because let's take this into our business of coaching or mentoring or consultancy, whatever. How can all this project management help us? Because obviously, if you've got a big project, as you just mentioned before, you've got a financial project manager, and then you've got a HR recruiter project manager, I imagine. Then you've got a real estate project manager, and so on. You've got all these experts that get together to work together to work on this project. But what about us as individuals? How can we bring that into play?
Well, us as individuals, like say if we're within our family and say we're trying to organize a family holiday together, and we want to go somewhere, so we want to look into like a kind of list of what we want to do. So how many days do we have for this holiday? What activities would we like to do? What accommodation would we like to stay in? If we have children, like, is everything adequate for the children? Like, is there food or restaurants nearby? Are the activities safe for the ages of the children? Like what kind of standards are we looking for? Or it's the same thing as like if you're buying any clothes, like you want to buy clothes, okay, are the clothes comfortable for you? Do they fit well? Like, how much do you want to spend? Same within your house. If you have your house and you want to keep your house organized, what are the most important things in the house that need to be organized? Like, say for the cleaning, like what kind of things do you want to do? Like, say on a Sunday, you have a daily routine of cleaning the house. Okay, what's the most difficult thing to clean first? So a lot of people, like, in theory, you would do the vacuum cleaning at the beginning of everything. So you get all the dust done with the vacuum cleaner. And then, or you'd polish first. You polish everything first to get all the dust onto the floor, then hoover it, and then kind of doing it that way. Otherwise, you'd end up doing too many multiple tasks that you don't want to do. Like with laundry, like if you do your laundry, how often do you do your laundry? You'd have a specific schedule of the things that need to do in a house on specific days with your time and with your work.
Isn't it something that all of us already do, Matt? Why do we need a project manager? Or what? Isn't it something that seems like common sense? I don't know. I don't want to belittle your profession, but it seems that we do that anyway. I mean, as you said before, you're gonna clean your house, you have to have some sort of plan. Because if I'm gonna clean the floor with a mop and wet the whole place, and then on top of that hoover and then polish, I'm doing, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Believe it or not, some people are so unorganized. I've met some people, I'm like, so when was the last time the house was cleaned? And they're like, I just don't have time. I forget. With my job, I do so much in my job that I forget what I'm doing in my house. I forget things. So it's like, okay, then if you forget things, how much money are you earning and how much money would you like to put aside for a cleaner so you don't have to do it yourself? You know what I mean? If you want to cook, or some people don't even have time to cook a meal. You'd be surprised. I've met some millionaires who they said, I don't have time to cook. I just don't have time and the energy to cook. So I have multiple people. I have people that are my chefs. I have people that put my laundry in the laundry machine and they do everything for them. And they've got like my ex-partner, they had a 40-bed hacienda that they ran and they didn't have time to do their own cooking. They just didn't have the time. So they have people coming in to actually do everything for them. And I was working for a multi-million-dollar multi-family apartment building, and they have everything. And I mean, they have people there to walk their dog, to buy their dog food, to buy their cat food. There are people there to service the Wi-Fi. There are people there to go and check everything. And it's literally like they're living in a 5-star accommodation. So all they have to focus is on living and work. Everything else is taken care of them. Depends on the culture. You go to the US now, you can have everything done for you. And I mean everything. Someone will even call and order your food for you if you wanted to. You don't do it yourself.
But is that good project management? In that is the question. If someone's able to do all of that and just live or just work or just be, I don't know, does that mean that they're a good project manager?
It depends on what your lifestyle is and what you're looking for. If you're looking for just focusing on your life and you've got somebody else doing it all for you and your only focus is getting what you want done, then it's each to their own at the end of the day. It's like a lot of companies have 50 or 60 different virtual assistants, not for business, but for their actual life. Like, I don't really want to have to call that person because I don't want to have to talk to them. So they pay someone to do it for them. You know what I mean? They have a personal assistant, arranging their hairdresser's salon, arranging for the dog to be taken for a walk, arranging for the groceries to be delivered. Like I had an interview ages ago. I was going to work for this private jet firm. And some of the requests, I was like, wouldn't it be more simpler for you to do it yourself? And he's like, I don't want to do it.
So is this something that you could offer, not just companies, but just people to manage people, their lives. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I had a guy approach me the other day, actually, and he goes, we have an idea of this, having these exclusive virtual assistants that do everything for the business and for the project manager. So the project manager just tells these people who are like the graphic designers to do everything, just say, right, okay, I need to take a day off today. This is the schedule. You just pretend that you're me. And they have everything all written down and all the standard procedures of operation done. And they just have multiple people doing it for them. I have a guy that he runs an Amazon company and he has 70 people working for him and they all do one task, one single task. One will answer the emails. One will make sure that the company has got the tea or the coffee ordered. And he's granular. He's so granular with everything. He's like, it makes my life so much easier because I know that everything's done. And it's better for me to pay, if I'm getting paid $20, it's better for me to pay someone to do it for $10 and I make that $10 profit for doing no work at all. You know what I mean? It's kind of there's worlds out there. It's quite wild. Like some of the things I've seen, I'm like, wow. Like when this guy said to me, oh, are you able to like order me a pizza? And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I just don't want to do it. I'd rather pay someone to do it for me. I just don't want to do it. Can you make sure that this person does X, Y, and Z? When it'd be quicker for them to do it themselves, but they just don't want to.
Oh, Gabby, Paul, you got any questions on all of this stuff? I don't think we're going to go into breakout rooms. I think we just stay here. There's only 4 of us. So if you've got any questions, any insights into some questions that maybe Matt could, like, I mean, Matt, just questions on, like, you know, the sphere of life, like, you know, the finance and relationships and health and work and so on. So as a project manager, I mean, prioritizing there, where would you start with? Talking about personal stuff now, not obviously big projects are, but where can we start and what could we do to actually get a grip of all of this?
So if we want to make life much more easier for ourselves, so we're not getting overwhelmed or stressed. So it's basically, what do we actually need to do in our daytime? So obviously we wake up, we have breakfast, a cup of coffee, cereal. Then we get our, maybe if we've done it the night before, we've got our clothes ready for work. But obviously we are living in a remote world these days. So it depends on, living in a remote world that we're doing these days can make things much more easier. So obviously making sure that our laptop is charged at home before we start work so it doesn't run out, making sure we've got ample food in the house, because if we're doing work from home, we want to have food so we don't have to pop out, right? Also making sure that we have time, like if we're sitting here looking at the computer screen like we are now, what time slots do we have to have a break so we don't get headaches, or drinking water, like having timers, making sure that we don't forget to drink water. I know a lot of people that suffer from dehydration from work, even if they're working from home, because they don't take ample water breaks. So it's basically having this, like, okay, remind yourself every 20 minutes or 30 minutes to have a glass of water. And it's amazing how you will forget if you're looking at a screen. So personal well-being, obviously, if you're sitting in a chair at home, making sure you get up and you stretch, you're giving your muscles, you know what I mean? So you're not going to have any kind of back problems. Even if you're at home watching TV and you're sitting there just relaxing, watching a TV or a movie, to just like pause it a little bit and stop and actually reminding yourself to say, right, okay, I need to keep myself moving. Or even if like in your personal life, if you want to try and sleep, and it's remember, okay, I have a set schedule at 8 o'clock, I turn off my laptop so that I can actually calm down. So I don't have all this information coming at me from the laptop, so that I can meditate and calm down and actually have a good night's sleep. Because it's amazing that just looking at a screen can keep you awake. So it's getting a routine, getting a set routine in your day, as in, okay, at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually having your day planned.
So we could use a tracker or something to understand this, because I personally, not overwhelmed, but I'm always connected, which is like, you know, telephones with me even when I go to the bathroom sometimes, which is, it's not very nice to say that, but it does. I'm walking the dog and I'm on the telephone, not talking, but I mean, either sending in messages or just looking at LinkedIn or whatever it is. But how can we understand this? I mean, how can we understand what's happening during our day? Because sometimes the whole day just goes by and
I have a really cool product that my friend invented. This is called a live productive journal. Wait there, and I'll send you but can I get it on the, can you read that? There you go.
productivity plan and journal. Okay.
And this is a 4-month journal based on your personal life and your work life. And it goes through each page, like when you wake up, your goals, your times, everything you're doing in regards to food, drinking, water, habits, and you track it daily. So you wake up in the morning, you write down the main tasks that you need to do in the day. And then it also has goals where you can tick them off with a pen. It's also got gratitude and reflection. So, oh my God, I'm feeling crap or feeling shit doing this. Why am I feeling like this? And you're actually writing it down.
But Matt, don't you have to actually be very disciplined? I mean, I had one too. I mean, this is mine. I've got this called the Fox, and inside I've got also, I keep all of this. Yeah, it's all this stuff. It says there, your biggest wins, insights gained, what are you looking forward to, etc., etc. So there's lots of stuff here. But I don't write everything. I just write down my appointments, what I've got set up. But it doesn't tell me if I've drunk water or how many times I've been to the toilet. I don't know. I got angry when Paul was saying something on, and so he just triggered my emotional state. It doesn't tell me all of that. Unless I go in there and write it down. How can I get that information?
Well, basically, there are apps that you can actually have with a timer that tell you what you want to do during the day. You can get them on your phone that says, okay, remember to drink water. Okay, remember to do this. There are apps out there that you can have on your phone that tell you exactly what you're doing each hour of the day if you really want it. They say, warning, warning, you need to drink water. Did you drink water? And you have to actually physically tap it. You have to go, boof, okay, I've done my water. Boof, I took 20 minutes off the screen. Boof, I ate. There's everything, like all these fitness apps. It's ridiculous. I have a friend of mine that has developed an app for going to the gym, and the app scans the body to make sure he did his lifting correctly. And if he didn't, it goes, bing, wrong turn, bing, too much elevation. And they got a camera, and the camera actually watches it doesn't film the person, but it films the actual the chemical structure of the body. And it scans and it makes sure that he does his gym workout exactly how he should do. There's incredible technology out there that's got like, hi Fred, you didn't drink water. We noticed you didn't drink water. Make sure you drink water. Yeah.
It's like the big brother is just like, on your shoulder there, just there.
Yeah.
And,
well, look at Alexis with music. Alexis has got a function. It's like, hi, you've just missed your lunchtime. You can program Alexis to do millions of things. Alexis, turn on the light, please. Put it on for 20 minutes. After 20, light dimming. 20-minute time estimated.
So are we saying that there exists a project manager app, let's call it, personal, that you can program, like, I don't know, a company would program Matt for his project management intervention, and this project management app would be personal because I tell it what I want.
Yeah, of course. And it can say, hi, it's time for shopping now. A lot of the watches, the new iPhone, the new iWatch has got so many crazy fun. It can track your running and your exercise. Hi, you only did this amount of steps done. Don't forget you need to do more steps. Like these BeFits that they've got in their wrists that tell you how much they work out how much food you've eaten during the day just by sensing it through your pulse. Some crazy apps that you've got out there regarding fitness. Oh, did you get enough sleep today? Okay, well then make sure you turn everything off, go to bed at 9, and then wake up at 6. There are like so many different things that you can have, like apps for training. I know a guy that he's a fitness instructor, and he does everything on an app. He designed an app on your phone for every part of your day for fitness, for well-being. It actually measures where you're hiking and the terrain that you're running on.
So is that you just programming yourself like some sort of a robot?
Yeah.
That if you hit these KPIs, it means you're what? Okay, you are in line with who you think you are or you want to be.
Yeah,
or,
of course. Yeah. And it's like they'll even tell you like, okay, so they'll give you a set diet that you need to go if you want to try and get to where you want to be. So you have to have X amount of protein bars, X amount of calories in your body. There's some amazing tools. All these professional footballers, they have everything granulated down to the minute. So Ronaldo eats certain foods every time of day for certain energy levels, and they programmed it down to a T as to exactly how much energy he needs for a football game with regards to food, with fluids. Have you ever heard of Herbalife?
Herbalife, yeah.
And Herbalife is a food programmed to exactly what your body needs, no more, no less. So they granulate down the calories to the minimum. That's why the people don't get fat. They choose specific, like chemicals as they are, like foods for the body, for what the muscle needs. They've got it down. So if you want to get a 6-pack in 8 weeks, if you eat this and you do this, obviously it depends on your metabolism and stuff, but they go for a routine of what you need to get to that.
I think, Paul, weren't you in is it the vitamin business? What were you in? And was it so finely defined as in, talk about project?
Matt had me there until he mentioned Herbalife. Because I mean, yeah, I see them as an MLM, multi-level marketing. So you're paying a lot more for what you get, really. So yeah, I have a company in South Africa, and we service health shops and pharmacies, etc. And we sell health products, supplements, food products, etc. But you know, I do other things now as well. Very interesting talk, Matt. I was fascinated by this. It's amazing how our filters pop up. You know, when you talk about project management and how if you go under, it's bad because you might have missed, and if you go over, then it's good because you might have picked something up. Because that would be very situational, because there are countries where they're going to go over anyway because there's got to be a lot of backhanders, etc. I mean, Eskom in South Africa, where I'm from originally, is a fantastic example. I mean, they now my reps have to deal with 8 hours load shedding a day. That's no electricity, and the increase in electric prices has gone up 18%. I mean, it's the perfect business model. And then the thing that popped up for me when you were talking about, and Gary was asking you about how do you apply all this to your life. I mean, it's coaching 101, really. I mean, if you look at Stephen Covey, talks we start with the end in mind. You say the project you start at the end. It's like I did some project management training with Chris Croft's programs, and you probably know him. He's all over LinkedIn. So, but Stephen Covey is the same. You start with the end in mind and you work it back. And it's just that you've reframed it for me nicely now in that project management frame. So I can see the connection between the two. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's just having like where you need to be. Like, obviously, I've been working with this. Like, this is kind of like I've been working with this date coach for the past 4 days, and a lot of it is based on mindset, as in the blocks. I don't think I can do that because what will people think? Well, it doesn't matter what people think at all. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If you want to have a certain lifestyle and you want to do this and do that, then you can do that. Like these malls had strict, a great organization where if people wanted to come and visit a Gucci shop, they could have a private 3-hour session in a Gucci shop where all of the zoning was on them. And these people were paying like $5,000 for 3 hours to have exclusive rights to a Gucci shop. And it was mental. And you're like, I would think it's mental, but I'm not in that kind of fashion. But these people want 3 hours of Gucci's time to show them present them all their bags and the prices. And they don't want to get up and do it themselves. They want to be waited on hand and foot. They want the bag to be brought to them while they sit on the chair. They want a cup of tea brought to them. They want sandwiches brought to them, you know? And it's people want. Sorry?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's a case of, there I can understand it. You have the money, you want to make the best choice because you value your money, really. So if you can afford it, you make the best choice. You don't walk out and go, oh, I should have bought that bag with that bag with that bag, because you just one of many. And there's people you talk about who, they want something and they don't want to do it themselves. It's either, depending on what you're earning. I think that's something you earn because you say you make X amount an hour. I mean, I don't know, read this somewhere. If you're making X amount of hour, it doesn't serve you to do a job that is making less per hour than that, where you can actually pass that on to somebody else to do, because you're losing money. You said it yourself, giving somebody a job for 10 euros an hour, which you're making 20. But I mean, like if you take a cleaning job, I mean, it's not that expensive, whereas you might have a position that earns you a lot more money. The time away from that. But there's also the mental repair time. You can go, well, you can fit it in during the time you're off, but depends on how mentally draining your work is.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And some people just...
I think there's another point there as well, Paul, understanding sometimes what is, maybe it's all in line with your values on how you see life and how you see yourself, is to bring in okay, I can afford to bring in a cook, someone to cook for me. But is that what, I mean, this really happened actually. We had a person who came, my wife said, it'd be really nice to have someone to cook for us. And I thought, shit, no, I don't know. That's just cleaning was already a big step for me, because from the UK, we didn't believe in cleaners. You clean your own place. That's the way I was brought up. And so even though we had the money or whatever, or you just didn't bring in a cleaner because it just seemed undermining your own sense of, your worth. You're not cleaning your place, you're bringing someone else to make your bed and make anything. So you can afford it. Then it was like bringing in a cook to cook for you. And I think we're losing contact with, it seems to be like losing the whole sense of family, of relationships. And because these are moments cardinal moments in the day when the family's together and you're eating together and the food's good or bad. I don't know, your grandmother was a really great cook. Now, cooking's not so important. You get
some people just don't like cooking.
Yeah.
They want to eat healthy food. They don't want to eat takeaways, and they can afford it. I have friends in South Africa. The one friend, she's just done a 30-day stint with the family, and she's cooking because the mother wants different food from the kids and the dad. So you have to cook 3 different types of meals 3 times a day. Now, if you watch enough programs I like studying people. I mean, if you're creating programs on telly where getting your kids to eat, and you see what a struggle it is for a mum to feed kids, for example, who want to eat food that's different from what the rest of the family is eating. And if you can afford it, why would you want to not do it? I mean, if you can't afford it, then you're living cloud cuckoo land. But if it's the right tool for you and it makes your life easier, I mean, then do it. It's no different. Then what's the purpose of a coach? If people can do all these things themselves, then what's the purpose of a coach? What's the purpose of a project manager? The reality is people aren't with it enough, and they often miss the blindingly obvious. So they need people to help them with things. And if you can help people out with small tasks. I mean, I love cooking. So, and you live in Italy, and I'm thinking, who did you marry? She doesn't like cooking.
You know, my partner likes working. So as you said, like, yeah, it's true. I mean, not everyone likes to be in the kitchen.
No.
But when you get all these experts doing everything for you, what do you do? I mean, it's like,
Well, that's the thing. But that's the question. If you have all that happening, then there must be something you're contributing that serves even a higher purpose. Or is there?
Yeah. You do what you like to do. I mean, I have friends who hate cooking, and they do other stuff, and they love doing that. So I think as a coach, it's a question of really helping people to find out what they really want and not what they should do. And I had to laugh when Matt talked about all these apps, because I'm working a lot with life balance and creating a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, right? And I have a lot of clients who come who use apps, and they do project management in their personal life. And the result is that they're completely stressed out because there's a phone beeping, and then they haven't that done, and then they have the lists, and they spend more time filling out those journals and the lists and what they should do. And then they don't have all the ticks done. And then they get into a panic because they don't have all the ticks done. And they forget totally that life is also about take a breather, and sometimes purposely do nothing.
Switch off notifications. That's what I
Yeah.
was going to say to you earlier, Gary. Switch
Yeah.
off notifications. When you go walking or you go to the loo, switch off notifications.
Yeah, I don't have any like real notifications. Like for work I do, but I mean otherwise,
Yeah.
like I try and turn off my
Yeah.
phone at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I tell people, listen, unless it's like actually this was funny. So I'd applied for a position with this client, and they messaged me at 10 asking if I could jump on a call, and I was like, yeah, sure. But it ended up being a really good contract. And the other day I posted a comment about the BEwell, and my friend said, you were up at 3 in the morning for a webinar, and I'm like, yeah, I was. And then I was back on another meeting at 7. They're like, there's no way you get me up at 3 in the morning. I said, yeah, but it was something that I agree with, and it's something it's an interest to me. So if something is going to give me a positivity, I'm going to get up at 3 in the morning to do it. But a lot of people have different priorities. Like I have a friend, and she runs a multi-million-dollar company, and she will only work between 9 and 5. And she tells her clients, I'm available between 9 and 5. I don't need you. I'm happy to help you, but I don't need you. I've already got to where I need to go. So now it's me time to look after myself. So I'm available between 9 and 5. If that works for you, great. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, because I've already earned my $1 million. She's already done the stressful part of earning her money. And now she's like, I will give people my time when I need to, because I've earned, I'm at where I'm at, you know, it's the priority.
You know what I'm taking away, as we're coming to the end now, what am I taking away from this project management session is to understand where you excel, maybe, or what you love doing and want to do, because we sometimes get bogged down with all the little things around us. And we do it, cleaning, cooking, looking after the kids, taking the dog out, washing the car and all that kind of stuff. We get bogged down with all of that. And perhaps we're not able to shine and actually show what we can really do, because by the time you get to that point to show your energy and show that what you can really do, you've just, you've maybe done 23 hours of other stuff. So that 1 hour where you are shining could be more if you could delegate, or you can use apps or people or whatever to do the stuff where you are not at your maximum. So that's what I'm taking away. So I think the project management, very interesting, because I think it's exactly what maybe the owners or these people, the sponsors or the people who are investing in these projects don't want to get bogged down with all of that, because maybe they've got a higher purpose, whatever that is. And they're sort of employing people like Matt to run the project for them, and he and other project managers get together and they do the daily tasks.
Yeah, and the minute you have a team working, you need some kind of project management, so you know what's happening, and you need a communication. I used to work in a company where the boss got a project in his head, but it was like the secret because he never talked to us, and then he asked us doing stuff, and we didn't even know why, because we didn't know what he actually really tried to do, because he never, that the communication was not there. And if you're told to do something which maybe is a bit, you have other things to do, you're already stressed, he asks you to do something quickly and you don't even know why, it doesn't help with the work morale, put it that way, right? So yeah, it's very, very important when you work with people to have communication and the project management where people know at all times where you're at and why they're doing what they're doing.
It was the same thing. So I knew I was going to be doing this 4-day coaching. So yesterday I made it so I only had 2 work appointments. And it was even so difficult for me to do the total work appointments because I was so exhausted from running around doing the filming with these date coaching. It was very intense because you've got to be on board all the time. That yesterday didn't happen. I took the metro to I'm been given a free pass to this exclusive working place called WeWork. A client of mine is paying for it because he wants me to be in a good environment for the work. And I got on the wrong metro 3 times because I was so tired. I was so exhausted. I was going the right direction, but I thought I wasn't, and I changed 3 times. And it took me like 45 minutes to do a 10-minute journey because I was like, where am I? And I got there and they're like, you're right. I'm like, no, I'm just gone. I can't think in my head because I was just so tired. But yeah, it's like kind of
Well, listen, thank you for being with us at 3 o'clock in the morning.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Very honored to have you there at 3 o'clock. And this is what it means when you want something. There's no obstacles. I mean, you can,
you do what you need to do.
Yeah, really. I'm with you on that. I mean, I can wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If there's something I really want to do, I'll do it. And I think it takes discipline. It takes, focus, and also know what you want. And then also to experiment, because it could also be wrong. Doesn't mean that, maybe you might think, well, okay, I'm not going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every Tuesday. Fine, but now at least you've had the experience of this get together.
Well, it's a learning also. It's a something. It's like if you meet someone, you're either going to enjoy your time with them or you're not going to enjoy your time with them, and it's kind of basing that. But it's like, it's just deciding what you want to do. It's like, okay, I'm not going to go to this restaurant because I like the food, but I don't have the money to spend it, so I'm going to choose a lower class restaurant until I have the money to afford that. And it's kind of understanding that and getting it in your head. You know what I mean? It's like I'm sharing an apartment, which is it's ideal at the moment, but I know that eventually I'm going to want to get my own. So you do what you need to do until you build up to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Until you've got X amount of money in your bank account when you can afford to spend it. It's simple. But it's managing your life and saying, right, I can't afford this, so I'm not going to spend this. So I'm going to have this until I can get to there. But it's accepting it and knowing it instead of ending up in the streets after 2 months because you've spent too much money, right? Kind of, yeah. So planning.
Yeah, but as I say, you say project management, but I think anyway, always project is always tied to business or corporate vocabulary, but I think it's just, we can just say it's a life project management, because basically you need to organize your life. As you said, if you run out of money, you can be walking out on the streets, and how you're going to work, and what do you have the resources at home, the food and the heating and all that, work from home and the internet connection, so on. So yeah, it's a case of looking at all of these things a little bit deeper. Yeah. So listen, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Gabby.
Thank you very much.
Gabby's going to be talking to us about
storytelling in coaching.
Storytelling in coaching, exactly. I think that's an important topic as well. So I think that's in a couple of weeks, isn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, 14th of February. 14th of February.
Yeah. As I say, I'm bringing these people on. I think next week we've got Muhib talking about emotional intelligence. The week after, I've got someone called Stuart Foster. I don't know if you know him, Stuart. And he's going to be talking about burnout, which is important as well. The idea is to bring more people. So if you can pass the word around of what we're doing, it's a very informal get together about different topics. And today was project management. I'd never spoken about project management. It's the first time. A couple of weeks ago, we spoke about brand design. We're doing this in English. I mean, later on, maybe I might even run some of these in Italian, bring in some Italian guests, but that will be done in Italian, in the Italian language. But for now, we'll just do it in English. So if you have any interesting people that you want to propose, send me a message and we'll get them on. We'll get them on the webinar.
No
Okay,
worries.
okay, super.
Pleasure, Gary. Thank you.
Okay,
Gary.
so listen, go back to sleep, Matt. Get that happy, go have breakfast, and we'll speak to you soon. Okay.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.